Good morning. I think this is mostly for our friends when we're recording in the back. So again, my name is Rebecca Sullins, and I work with the Cedar Rapids Metro Economic Alliance, and I'm really excited to be partnering with HEDCO on the Hiawatha Business Summit. This is a quarterly event, and we're excited to see you here in Q1. HEDCO is such an incredible partner. We love working with HEDCO and putting on these events. And we're always looking for new locations. So we like to host these at different rotating Hiawatha businesses. And while Hiawatha is growing and mighty, not everybody has space for 30 to 40 to 50 people. But if you do, we would love to consider hosting one of these at your business. So please let me know or Kirk, and we would love to get people into your space. I think a lot of us haven't been here at Metro Studios before, and it's a great opportunity to get in front of different business owners, see what's happening in Hiawatha, and talk about different topics that are of interest to everybody. So I'm really excited to introduce Kirk Hayden. He is the vice president and owner with Metro Studios. He's also been a board member of HEDCO for 10 years. So he might be the veteran, and he is often behind the camera setting up to make sure we get these recorded and put on the HEDCO website in super duper high quality. And so we're really excited that he has offered to host today and step out from behind the camera, talk to us a little bit about Metro Studios, and then he'll introduce our speakers today. So please join me in welcoming Kirk Hayden.
Awesome. Thank you, Rebecca. Thanks, everybody, for coming today. I want to give a quick shout out to coming from HEDCO and being a board member, the importance of these business summits, not only to our business community in Hiawatha, but I know a lot of you are probably from the Cedar Rapids or the corridor area. So thank you to Rebecca and Jamie and everyone at the EA that put these on and partner with HEDCO so that we can put on these educational forums once a quarter. So continue to come and enjoy the free information, if you will. A couple things on Metro Studios before I turn it over to our team. We've been in the corridor, Eastern Iowa, we're in our 39th year of doing marketing and advertising for small to all the way up to Fortune 1000 businesses. We're in our 24th year in Hiawatha, and I can tell you it's been an amazing adventure for us being in Hiawatha. Over the past 24 years, we built this building originally right here, and Hiawatha is a great place to do business and continue to do business and grow. As far as Metro Studios is concerned, we're a marketing and advertising agency. We work with a lot of, all the way from mom and pops up to, like I said, Fortune 1000 businesses. And we're working with companies today in the digital marketing space mostly. So when I say digital marketing, and you're going to find out a lot about that today, we're talking social media marketing, search marketing, whether it's paid or organic, marketing websites, building websites, content marketing, all the way down to traditional marketing. Still the TV commercial, the outdoor, radio spot, you name it. So we're still involved with a lot of companies in that venture as well. So today is really important because I think we're going to talk about how you're potentially wasting your marketing dollars, and a lot of people don't know when they're doing it. I'm going to introduce Ashley Demjanovic, Sam McCready, and if you knew the presentation, we're missing one, Toma Bousquet, who is ill today. So unfortunately he can't be here today, but these guys will do a great job filling in for his part of the presentation. So with that, I'm going to turn them over to two of our lead digital marketing strategists here, and we'll get started with the presentation. Thanks for being here.
All right. Yeah, Kirk kind of addressed the elephant in the room with us missing a third presenter. So if there's some ums and some stutters, it was perfect when he was here, I promise. So if any of that happens, that we can blame it on him since he's not here. But what I'm going to do first here is talk about all of the marketing platforms that you can be spending your marketing dollars on, and just kind of address who those audiences are for and who they're not ideal for. So we'll kind of go through each platform in detail, and then get into some specific examples. So I broke this down by audience, content, best for, and not best for. So this is organic search. Everyone's probably familiar with the term organic search. What that means is when someone goes to Google and is looking for your service, if they're looking for a restaurant near you, power tools near you, things like that, or looking on a national basis, this is what organic search consists of. So those companies that show up for those terms optimize their website to rank for those terms. So they didn't just get there by chance or by paying there. These are websites that are optimized well, so they show up for those terms. So this makes sense for a lot of businesses to invest in, because obviously people are searching for your service or product. You want to show up in Google because that is where most people are going now when they want to find a solution for their problem, is they're immediately going to Google, and those websites that rank on the top page are getting the majority of those clicks. So this is a great investment for a lot of businesses. Who it wouldn't be good for is businesses without an existing website. So if you don't have a website, you obviously don't have the opportunity to rank for those terms. You'll see like Facebook pages rank for some of these things, but those are harder to optimize. So this platform has been obviously growing in the past several years and is a primary platform we push for businesses to invest in, because that's where you reach your potential customers when they're searching for your products or services. The flip side of that is paid search. So you guys have probably all seen this when you've done a Google search, that there's sponsored listings, and you've probably seen it where you clicked on it and it wasn't something you wanted to go to. That's an example of someone not running their paid search campaigns very well. So the same sort of audience where it's anyone using a search engine, but you're actually paying to show up for the top of those terms. So if I'm searching for power tools near me, you might see Lowe's and Home Depot rank at the top of organic search, but I might see a local hardware shop rank at the top, and you'll see a sponsor badge next to it, meaning they paid to show up for those terms. So it's a great way to start driving traffic to your website if you aren't doing that already and you're not ranking well enough for those terms. It's a great kind of middle solution to that issue. So this would be best for businesses looking for instant results and don't rank for those terms. So if you're starting up a new business and you want to sell widgets and people are searching for widgets near you, your website likely isn't going to rank for that. So you can go into Google and say, I want to target this specific area and target people searching for widgets near me. And you can pay to be at the top of those terms and start driving traffic to your website. So you can see how that'd be a powerful tool to drive people that are searching for what you offer and convert them into customers much more quickly than waiting for your website to rank. So this really isn't ideal for niche markets and brand awareness efforts. So if you sell something really specific, it can be difficult. There might not be enough search volume for what you offer. We see this sometimes with really specific manufacturing clients as an example, where they offer a product that people aren't even familiar with yet. So you need to explain that product because people aren't searching for it. They don't know that solution exists yet, so you have to present the solution to them where they're searching, where some of these other platforms we'll go over might make more sense, where that's a brand awareness effort where you need to inform your customers that you offer a solution they don't even know exists.
So now we have organic social, and this is pretty much what you would think: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Reddit, X, formerly known as Twitter. Those are going to be your organic social options. And so when we say organic as opposed to paid, we're kind of talking about, say you've created a page for your business, or even your normal Facebook page that you have under your name. That's organic content that's being created. We're not paying into that. We're not paying to play on any of those platforms. That's just there as brand awareness, essentially, and you can be building your business in that respect. So in terms of the audience there, that's just going to be people present on social media, people who have active profiles, who are able to view your page, view your business there. And then the content there is just going to be, again, posts in the social feeds that you're posting organically through your business. Maybe you're creating content, maybe it's just text and copy there. But we typically recommend this for brands. If you're a company looking to hire, we can do employment ads through organic social, and that's a little bit more paid. But for employment, you can post different things and encourage people to apply. And then we also say that this is best for business to consumer leaning businesses. So things like Target, if you're a small boutique, things like that, where you're a business and you're going toward a consumer. We don't typically recommend it for businesses who aren't willing to create visual content. Obviously, social media is an incredibly visual platform, and so if you're unable or unwilling to create that high quality visual, we don't typically recommend it for businesses of that nature. And it's also not for audiences who just aren't on social. And then paid social is that pay-to-play platform. So Facebook, Instagram, all of these social media platforms, you are able to pay into those ads. I'm sure you've seen them on your own Facebook pages, for different things, shops, materials, things of that nature. You're able to pay, and you're able to show up in those social media spaces. In terms of content, again, that's just advertising that appears in your social media feed. Sometimes you'll see it say sponsored right there at the top of that ad. And then we also, again, say that's best for brands, existing brands that have sort of a presence that they're able to present on social media. Again, employment ads we can run, and you're able to kind of focus that content into, again, hiring. There are very specific and very nuanced rules when it comes to employment. So we definitely say that that's something that you want to focus on and have a little bit of expertise going in when running employment ads. And then again, those business to consumer leaning businesses. Again, not for businesses who can't create or are not willing to create that visual content, and then not for those audiences on social either.
Yeah, and then next we're kind of talking video in a broad spectrum. There's obviously a lot of ways you can run video advertising. So what comes to mind is on the digital side is YouTube, Hulu, Netflix now with an ad subscription tier that you can actually start showing your local ads on those streaming platforms. And YouTube is actually the second most popular search engine on the internet. So it's a really powerful tool to capture your audience, but you have to be, like Ashley was saying, kind of willing to create content that makes sense for that platform. So the audience is humongous, like I mentioned, second largest search platform. The content is advertisements basically throughout the programming or at the start of the programming. So you can target people based on their interests and their searches, and you can target people who have been to your website before and then show them video ads related to your business. So it's a really powerful tool because obviously video is very captive, and if they're clicking on something intending to watch, your ad will capture their attention in that moment. And if they're able to skip the ad, you don't pay for when they skip those ads. So it's actually a very advertiser-friendly platform, and it's really great for brand awareness and B2C businesses. And honestly, B2B could be in here as well. Brand awareness, this is a huge factor. Getting your name out there and in a visual context resonates a lot more than just showing a text ad to someone or just mentioning your business. You can be so creative on video platforms. It's a really ideal platform to advertise on, but it can be very difficult to create quality video content. Or if you don't have existing content to use, it can be difficult to kind of build that up. And you probably have all seen it before, really poor YouTube ads that don't gather your attention and they're more annoying or they're shown too frequently. So that's where video is kind of a double-edged sword, where it's so easy to get into if you have the content and it is actionable, but it can, if done poorly, can be a nuisance and kind of drive your customers away. Another platform I wanted to talk on quickly was email. Everyone here knows email marketing. You get bombarded with emails every day, I'm sure, and there's a lot of those where you'll see a lot of well-done email marketing campaigns and ones that don't capture your attention. So what we're talking in the marketing sense is people who have opted into your email through your website or some other platform. So email has got a lot better about people have to actually engage and say they want that communication for you to reach out to them and constantly email them. So the content for this would be curated emails with product or service offering news. So once you have those email contacts, what you need to do is kind of identify areas where you can sell to those clients or offer a service that they're actually interested in rather than just providing information. If it's not useful to the client, they're going to unsubscribe. They're going to delete that right away. And that's something, we track on our email marketing platforms, is how often they're open. And there's effective ways to do email marketing, and there's a very easy way to do it incorrectly. So who this is best for is businesses who already have a customer list and returning business. So it is, like I mentioned, people have to opt into the email. So if you're starting from ground zero, it takes a long time to build that email list up, and specifically prospective customers, because obviously you have your customers' contact information. You can email them as much as you want, but building up prospective customer lists takes time, but it's worthwhile because they're showing interest, and you can curate specific email campaigns to your customers or potential customers. So it wouldn't be ideal for those businesses who don't have that list already built, or you're more of a one-off specific type of business. Like maybe it's making a home purchase. You don't do that frequently enough where an email list might make sense where they constantly get emails from you, as an example. And then lastly, I just want to touch on traditional marketing as a whole. I know there's a lot of facets of traditional marketing, TV, radio, billboards, print marketing. They all share the same similar pros and cons roughly. So we just group these together to kind of keep this succinct. So the pros of traditional marketing is a very captive audience. So we mentioned social media ads. Ashley talked about that a little. Those are very easy to scroll past and ignore because people become numb to those sorts of advertisements. Whereas a TV commercial, for example, if you're watching that program, you're very engaged and you're waiting for that to come back on. A lot of that audience is much more engaged in the advertising platform than they are on some of the other networks where there's so much advertisement, people become numb to it. And it provides a great creative opportunities. So video, mostly on the traditional side, and like billboards, you can do so many creative things in those spaces to capture people's attention. There's so many ways to garner attention to your business or website if done creatively, because it reaches so many people. We know on the other side of the cons, I have decreasing audience, but this audience is still very large. A lot of people still use traditional marketing. A lot of people still have TV subscriptions, obviously see billboards, hear radio ads, get print ads sent to them. While they might not be the most engaged with those, they still have a large enough audience where it's a very viable marketing method, and it's a very influential medium. So we talk, bringing it back to kind of social, because that's what people think of when they think of digital. People are more likely to trust what they see on traditional marketing, whether it's TV or hear it on the radio. They're much more likely to believe that message from those platforms than they are on the digital side. People see digital sometimes as a more, scam forward marketing method to sell specific things that might not be best for the customer because it's so easy to get into. Traditional marketing can, on the contrast, con would be high cost of entry. So not everybody can do traditional marketing. So when you see Facebook ads, they could have paid 10 cents to get in front of you for that Facebook ad. So you can see how anyone can set up and get going with those. Whereas traditional marketing is very hard to get into. And for niche industries, it doesn't make a ton of sense because your product is so specific and it gets blasted out to everyone in traditional marketing methods where you can't hyper focus as much, which means it can be difficult to measure your return on investment. So that's kind of the whole point of this presentation is not wasting your marketing dollars and making sure what you invest in your marketing has a good return for what you spend. And if you need people to take immediate action, traditional marketing isn't ideal because if they see your TV commercial, hear your radio ad, they have to remember your phone number, remember your website, and then go take action from there. Versus like the paid search we talked about, you're showing up where they're searching for a solution already and they're driving them directly to your website to turn them into customers.
So we have a couple of examples for you, some hypothetical examples by industry that we'll go through. And we'll go ahead and start with this manufacturing example. So pretend like it's a manufacturing company here in Hiawatha, and they're producing products that are used by leading sports brands. So our sales team would be wanting to send them some more qualified leads that they could follow up on. So there are some ideal platforms for them, and then there are some where we would consider them to be wasting their marketing dollars if they were to put them towards this. So ideal platforms, we would say paid and organic search are going to be ideal for them, especially since it's manufacturing. They're able to essentially do that pay to play, where they're able to work and focus keywords, focus ads towards this endeavor, and then go ahead and be able to pay into that and be able to ensure that that content is being seen by people. And then also organic search, that's where that SEO comes in. So we're ensuring the website is intended to convert and intended to drive sales and conversions there and contact form submissions, phone calls, whatever that looks like that's best for this business, and we're able to do that there. In terms of not as ideal, social media in this case we wouldn't typically recommend, just the nature of the business and what they're looking to do. And then traditional media as well, again with it just being a higher just pay to play in that respect, we're not able to really focus and send the conversions there that we would want to, and that's not particularly actionable data that we would be getting, just because if we're running a TV ad and the company's looking for qualified leads that they want to be able to follow up on, the traditional media avenue is not one that we're going to typically recommend. And then same reason, just for those streaming platforms, we want to be able to ensure that we're seeing those qualified leads come in, we know where they're coming from, and that paid and organic search, we're able to see that data in real time and know that that's where that traffic's coming from. And then we have a business to consumer example. So this would just be a hypothetical sportswear store located in downtown Des Moines, and they're making their material locally and they want to grow their brand in the local area to be more known. So in this case, we would say an ideal platform for them would be organic social media, just because typically these companies have a more established brand, something that we can show, and they typically have the higher ability to present that visual content we were talking about, just because they have an actual product that's able to be photographed and produced, and we can take photos of that and video, and we can make that into high quality content. Same thing for paid social media marketing for the same reasons there. We're able to create that content and advertise it effectively. And then email marketing for this business especially, like Sam was saying, you likely get bombarded on a daily basis with different sales emails, and for that reason, this might work for them. We're able to send out promotionals, discounts, things of that nature, and this business would likely benefit from an email marketing campaign. For not as ideal, again, that paid search might not work for them, just because if they are a smaller, more bespoke business and they want to grow their brand more in a niche local area, we're not going to recommend paid search, because a sportswear brand would be competing against some larger competitors like a Target, a Dick's Sporting Goods, and so we wouldn't want to waste our marketing dollars there, because our clicks would just essentially disappear into the void against that sort of competition. And then traditional media, sort of for that same reason, we might be able to send people in with a TV commercial, but for this business who wants to see actual traffic come in and we want to see actual data come in from that, we wouldn't typically recommend traditional media in this case. Also, given the audience, we likely wouldn't be seeing the audience that we're wanting to target come in from those traditional media platforms. And then we have a technology example, just a security systems company based in Iowa City, and they're providing security camera systems to local businesses, and the owner isn't happy with the results from their traditional marketing ads. So in this case, we would recommend that paid and organic search. So in paid search, we can definitely utilize some of those paid avenues, Bing, Google, and utilize some keywords there and do some research based on keyword volume and things of that nature, and see where we can get them in paid search, especially when it comes to specific products that they're advertising as well. And organic search would benefit as well. If we do that SEO work and we're able to really target those keywords, we'll see some benefit there as well. from the organic search efforts that we would intend to do for this client. In terms of not as ideal, for just the nature of this business, security cameras, we're not going to typically recommend social media just because there's not that existing brand, and there's probably not the kind of content we would say that's going to be visually compelling for someone doing a search or scrolling through Facebook and looking for something. They're probably looking for something like a water bottle, clothing, things of that nature, not necessarily security cameras, so we wouldn't recommend it there. And then also traditional media and those streaming platforms. For those same reasons, we want to be able to actionably send that traffic, and that's not going to likely benefit for this business for that reason. And then lastly, we have a hiring example, and we are able to do this for many, many different avenues. It doesn't have to be necessarily construction or anything like that, but in this case, this is just a hypothetical again. They're just in charge of road construction in local small towns, and they just don't have enough workers for the busy season. So we're able to do some targeting through paid search there, as well as organic social and paid social. And so through paid search, there are different ways that you can advertise on Google, and Google actually will kind of see that we have a job available, and then it'll show it in their sort of Google Jobs area, and we're able to do focused ads of that nature and doing paid search and driving people to applications and careers pages on an existing website. And then in terms of organic social and paid social, those are actually specific in that you're able to capture those leads directly on those social media platforms instead of driving them to your website. So that removes an extra step for the applicant. So we've seen a lot of success there because it's right there on that social media platform. They're able to apply. They don't have to leave the social media website, and the leads are captured right there. You can kind of download them in a spreadsheet, and that works well for a lot of our clients for that reason because it's rather turnkey. Not as ideal in this example. We're going to say organic search just because if you're construction jobs, it might get lost in the void there, that search. So we're not going to typically recommend there. We kind of want to pay to play in this case, especially if you have a busy season coming up, it's upon you, you need people. We want to make sure we're immediately getting right there to the top of that search page. And then print media for the same reason. If we're in a season where you need to be hiring in this case, and same thing for TV ads, not only are we not able to see the actionable data there and those applicants come in and know where they came from, if we're in a pressing time where you need applicants and you need people to apply, we wouldn't recommend in this case. And so let's talk about just how to measure some results. And so we have some good examples and some bad examples. And the bad examples might not quite be what you would consider to be a bad example. So we'll go through some of the good ones first, and I'll kind of discuss why some of the bad examples wouldn't necessarily be something that we would be focusing on. So in terms of good examples, we do like to see that present and actionable data there. So we had 3 sales from our Google Ads campaign in Iowa City. That's great. That's tangible for us. That's tangible for you. And that's sales that came into your business as a result of the marketing that you did. And then we also see we show up on the first page of Google for our services. That means that the SEO on your website is effective and it's doing what it needs to do. You're showing up on the first page of Google. Google has realized that you are updating content. You're an industry expert. They're taking that content seriously and they're giving you benefit from that positive SEO that's existing on your website, and you're now showing up on that first page of Google. And then you see our website is generating more calls this year than the last 2 combined. Again, intentional, actionable data that we're able to visually see benefit from. Some of the bad examples you see, of course you want someone to see a commercial that you paid a lot of money into, but again, in talking about that, did any sales come from that? Did any leads come from that? Did you receive any phone calls? Did you receive any contact forms? We don't know, but we know they saw your commercial. So that's not typically something we would say is the best example of how we want to present your business. It's great if you're able to, if that's the niche for your business and you're able to get that traffic in, but in this case, someone saw my TV ad wouldn't necessarily be the best data that we're looking into. And then you had 500 clicks and 10,000 impressions last month. There's a lot of data available through the tracking avenues that we have. There's multiple platforms, multiple streams of data, multiple things that we can look at when it comes to measuring success. And clicks and impressions are definitely part of that, but if there is no tangible sale, contact form submission, phone call from that. We want to look at avenues and we want to look at metrics that are actually benefiting your business and not just an influx of traffic into the site that didn't result in any conversions. And then we have 10,000 users viewed the landing page from your ad. Again, for that reason, we had a lot of users and we had a lot of views, but did that turn into any actual business for you?
Yeah, and the next slide here is going over brand versus performance. I apologize for the amount of information on this slide. That was the absent presenter. But we're going to focus on what this slide is really about is branding advertisement versus performance. So we talked a lot about those specific platforms and how you want to build your brand and then how you want to get actionable results like Ashley was talking about on the performance side where you can see those ads turn into business, but we don't want to ignore the branding side on this as well. But I'll get into further detail on the performance marketing. So this is looking at like Google ads, organic social ads, more on the digital side because you can track that user information all the way through, whether they visited your website, then completed an action, or saw your ad, then took action. That is an example of performance marketing. This is where I was talking about low cost of entry, where someone could pay 10 cents to show you their Facebook ad, and on the traditional side, that's gonna cost a lot more. So it's very low cost of entry, so any marketing budget you can get into this performance marketing on the digital side, which makes it very appealing. It has immediate impact on sales. So these ads are specifically driven to get more sales directly from them versus building up your brand. The whole goal of these ads are to drive action directly. It's really easy to measure the return on investment on these because I can see I paid $48 for 10 clicks and I got 3 sales of $270. So I can see that return on investment is there directly in tangible dollars. And you can see how this would be a great short-term success. So if you're starting a business and need those initial kick-up of sales, or you're in a slow season and need to kind of fill that gap, this is a great way to get that short-term success because these people searching or using these platforms can take action directly from these ads. So it's really great performance marketing efforts would be driving specific sales and contact forms and phone calls like Ashley was talking about. So the flip side of this would be the cons, where the return on investment decreases at higher investments. So this is an interesting kind of phenomenon where there's a sweet spot in performance marketing where if you spend, let's say, $500 a month and you're seeing the best return on investment, if you scale that up and keep scaling it up, eventually you hit a time where that return on investment is going to decrease because you're maximizing your sales effort in that market. That's where this is more for people who are looking to maximize their budget. It doesn't come into play as often, but it is a phenomenon we do see. And the main negative that stands out to me is results stop as soon as you shut off the ads. So if your business is relying on these performance marketing tactics, like let's say all your marketing budget goes towards social media posting and ads to drive people to your business. If you shut those ads off, like if you have an issue with the ads, maybe you had a policy violation or something like that, when those stop, you immediately lose all access to those leads and everything because you're solely reliant on performance marketing. And then another con would be the ease of entrance means more competition. So if you're in a highly competitive market, anyone can kind of pay to play in performance marketing on any budget level. So that means you can have people in your market that have a $500 a month budget and successfully competing against you, or they have a $5,000 marketing budget each month and competing against you. That's where the low cost, ease of entry can cause some issues. So the flip side of that is brand marketing. So this is where you're building up those long-term customers, you're getting your name out there known in the community versus trying to get immediate leads from the advertising. So it builds a connection with your audience too. This is a great way to show your values as a company and speak to your target audience that turn them into lifelong customers versus just one-off customers because they saw an ad and you had a service they needed in that moment. So the impact lasts far after your campaign stops. When I was making this slide, what kept coming to my mind is companies that successfully make jingles and things like that. People that make a jingle and let's say you remember it from 20 years ago, that ad probably hasn't ran for 18 years, but you can still remember it. That's a successful use of brand marketing because you know the name from that specific thing versus performance marketing where you're just trying to get that immediate sale. So it is more of a long-term strategy. This is more of an investment. It's more difficult to do successfully. On the cons here, you see basically every company runs some sort of brand marketing and a lot of them don't do it successfully. And that's where you start wasting a lot of your marketing dollars. It's so easy to do brand marketing. You can say, you know, this is my company, this is what we do. But to stand out in a space where you have competition, you have to be creative with your brand marketing to make sure your message resonates because it's so easy to fall into the fold of your competition. So if you probably seen it on TV before, you see car commercials come on and then you see the competitors' car commercials come on and 5 minutes later you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the two. That's some example of brand marketing done poorly. And it is really expensive and resource intensive to do brand marketing. Since you're not seeing that return on investment, it's difficult to say, yes, I should be investing this much each month in brand marketing because it takes a lot of time to do it well. And if you're not doing it well, then it's not going to have a good return on investment. And it's difficult to track that all the way through. So if you run TV ads for 5 years, it's really difficult to go back to your accounting person and say, you know, that was worthwhile because of what? Because of how many customers we got? Do you know exactly how many you got from that? It's just more of a gray area, and it's for companies that are trying to get ingrained in the community and grow their name versus instantly get customers.
So we have to talk about the importance of a good website when it comes to all of this traffic that we're trying to drive to your website, whether that be from search, from social media. We want to ensure that the impressions are good and we're getting the information to the customers that you want to emphasize to them. And so we're talking about informing customers on your website. We want to educate them on the products and services that you're offering. And I know that seems obvious, but sometimes with a website, we can get lost in things that just don't have anything to necessarily do about the product and service offerings. We get lost in a lot of big flashy design. We get lost in a lot of blocks of content that are more about you as the business owner as opposed to the products and services that you're offering. We of course want to emphasize you as the business owner on somewhere on the website, but sometimes that starts trumping the different content that we actually want to emphasize to some of those users. And so we also want to talk about those first impressions. Since we're driving that traffic from somewhere else and trying to get them to land here, your website's often the first place where someone is getting a complete view of your business, what you offer, who you are, what you can do for someone, what you can do in terms of the services and offerings that you have. And so we also want to make sure that in capturing those leads, we're focusing on the website design. So these two kind of go hand in hand. The design of your website should be emphasized in trying to capture leads. So we're trying to build these websites to lead someone to convert on your website, whether again, that's a phone call, a contact form submission, a sale. We want to make sure that the website design is leading them there. So that means clear and precise navigation, a place where, you know, there's a button, call now, submit a form, those sorts of things, as opposed to just lots of large blocks of content, too many visual elements that are getting lost and causing people to essentially bounce off your website. We're trying to obviously avoid that. And so we're going to kind of chat about a website that, this is just the before, this is a website that we had done previously, and this, for the most part, fairly well laid out. But in terms of what the client actually wanted to do and what they wanted to produce, we knew we could do better, essentially. So we can go to the next one where we can kind of see, and I will emphasize to you, sort of the things that we wanted to make clear for the client and clear for anybody coming to the website. So in terms of the after, we can see we have those, you can kind of see them there, free online estimate, get directions, actionable call to actions that are buttons that are going to send clients right there to exactly where they need to go. That's the first page of the website, and that's the first section of the website. And then you can also see we're trusted by hundreds of customers there as well. So you don't even have to bounce off the website and go find them on a Google, the reviews and rankings and things. You don't have to go to Google to find them. We have them right there for you. We also have included services now right there on the home page that you're able to see. And then just, again, we do want to emphasize you as the business owner too, so we do have that available. And that's on the homepage, and that's giving a complete picture of who you are as the business. And then, of course, we have, again, that get an estimate and get directions on this secondary page as well. And so, like we were talking about, 94% of first impressions relate to your website design. So that first impression kind of just go hand in hand with, are they able to find what they need? Are they able to go and do exactly what they want to? Are they able to get in touch with you? Are they able to submit that form and let you know more about the problem that they're having that they need your help for, or the product that they're looking for? Are they able to do that quickly and efficiently? Or are they searching all over the website to be able to find that information? And then we also want to talk about performing in a mobile-first world. We call our websites responsive, and that means they're able to respond well on different devices. So that's tablet, that's mobile, that's iPhone versus Android. We want to make sure that your website is appearing well to anybody who might land there, regardless of the device that they do have. It's because 59% of website traffic does come from those mobile devices. Not everybody's looking on their desktop to find your business. Sometimes someone's on the fly and they realize they need something. Again, for example, if you get into a car accident and you're looking for a client like our previous one who has a body shop, and you're looking at body shops in Cedar Rapids, when they land there, they're able to contact you immediately. They're able to submit that form, they're able to get a free estimate, make the phone call, and they're, of course, doing that from their phone.
Yeah, and just coming down the home stretch, just these last 3 slides for you guys. These are my personal favorite slides in this, and I think they resonate with every type of business owner. And these are how to effectively use your marketing dollars. So I'm going to go through each of these in a little more detail, but I think these are the most actionable items from this presentation and things that you should remember. So we kind of talked about all the platforms and all the examples, and really what matters is making sure you're on those right platforms. If you're spending marketing dollars on the incorrect platform, you're likely wasting all that money. There might be such a small percentage of those customers that are actually on those platforms. So we talked about the best B2B platforms, Google and Bing ads as an example, website SEO, showing up for when people are searching for you. LinkedIn is a very good place to advertise business to business, and YouTube even. You can target people who have already been to your website. You can target people who are searching for the services you offer, even if it is that business to business focus. If they're searching for things related to your business, you can show up there. And then the B2C platforms are fairly obvious. Social media is a great one. YouTube, same thing. You're targeting by interest and people who have been to your site. And then Google and Bing ads are really good too, because you can find those specific services, right, or products that you're offering. And then the streaming and CTV. So if you're wanting to run ads on Hulu or Netflix or things like that, you can get pretty targeted on those platforms now. You can target by interest level, you can target by radius, zip code, various, if they're watching sports programs or they're watching crime programs, you can target by a lot of different things. It gives you more freedom, so that is also a great platform to be on. And this is definitely my favorite slide on the entire presentation, is holding your marketing accountable. This is something we live by, and we kind of see this be the main issue for a lot of businesses, is they let their marketing be stagnant for so long, or they just keep doing the same thing because it has worked previously. So this is a great way to hold your marketing accountable, whether you're just starting or you've been doing the same thing for 10 years. Number one is identifying important KPIs, which is key performance indicators. So figuring out those 2 to 3 metrics that mean the most to your business, whether it's getting people to your website, getting people to your store, or it's, let's say, contact forms or calls. Identifying those 2 to 3 metrics that will really tell you if your marketing is successful and tracking that information. The second point on here is ignoring the fluff and useless data. Ashley mentioned it on one of her slides where someone said they got 10,000 impressions last month. Okay, that's great, but how many of those turned into customers? How many of those actually interacted with the ad? An impression just means they saw it. That doesn't mean they did anything, doesn't even mean it resonated with them. So there's a lot of data that isn't useful to businesses. In evaluating your budget, was your spend impactful? You spend, let's say, $10,000 on marketing last month. You better be sure that that money went to the right platforms and got to your target audience. Otherwise, you're literally throwing away $10,000 of your business's funds because you don't know if that was actually impactful or not. So really holding that accountable. And a lot of businesses even miss the opportunity to spend more on their marketing. And the main reason for that is they're on the wrong platforms. They're spending too much money on a specific platform, and there's another platform that's outperforming it, and they should be shifting those marketing dollars to the correct platforms. So there's also the flip side where you could be spending more if done correctly. And then lastly, implementation. A lot of people do not do this last part here, that is scheduled reviews and benchmarking and reporting. Every month you should be reviewing your marketing efforts, seeing how much you spent, seeing those 2 to 3 KPIs that were actually leading to results for your business, and then reporting on those and holding that accountable. So making sure each month that that marketing money is being spent in the right spot, because if you just let it sit there and it's going to get stagnant and you're going to be throwing away that money. And then lastly, we have stay flexible, test, and adapt. So there's obviously so many new marketing opportunities. You see all these platforms pop up each year where they say, they offer marketing efforts, like Hulu has been really popular in the recent years, Netflix, getting the ads. Recently, there's all sorts of new things that pop up, social media apps that come up, and making sure you're at least taking the time to recognize those platforms and seeing if it's an opportunity for your business to grow, even if it might not seem like it on the surface level, doing that research. And then measuring and testing your marketing. Like I mentioned on the last slide, that's critical to make sure your efforts are actually being successful, is making sure that money each month is being used in the right spot and testing different types of marketing. Maybe you really do value your TV ads, but you've been running the same ones for the last 3 months. Maybe it's time to test something new and different. You shouldn't be afraid to stand out from the crowd in marketing. A lot of marketing is very siloed and people do the same sort of things. Breaking away from the crowd in a creative way will make the most of your marketing dollars. And then lastly, patience versus impulse. This is for my presenter that isn't here. This was his main thing he wanted to talk about, was being patient with your marketing in certain respects versus just jumping to the next thing. So with all those new platforms, there's lots of new areas where you can be spending marketing dollars, but making sure you're giving each platform a chance, not just giving it a month and seeing if it wasn't a success, was it the platform's fault or was it the execution's problem? Giving it time to try multiple things and seeing if that's the correct platform for you is really valuable way to make sure you're not wasting those marketing dollars. So that is our final slide here, making sure you're not wasting your marketing dollars. We covered a lot of different topics and a lot of different platforms, and we're in it every day, so we're talking about this stuff constantly. And if you guys have any questions about marketing or marketing for your specific business, we'd be more than happy to help. But you guys made a great step today where at least you're taking the effort to come here and learn if your marketing dollars are being spent well. So thank you all for your time. We appreciate you coming out.
Samuel and Ashley, thank you so much for being here today and just taking time out of your workday and also showing us the space. Thank you so much to Kirk and Metro Studios for hosting us. Not everybody gets to see this, and I think it's a pretty cool opportunity. So thank you again to Hiawatha Economic Development Corporation. We're so excited to partner with you. Q2, May 21st is going to be our next Hiawatha Business Summit, and we'll be talking about a topic in healthcare, and our location is still TBD. So again, if you know anybody in the Hiawatha area who has space for a group like this and would like to showcase their location, we would love to talk to you. So we want to make sure to take time for questions. If anybody wants to stick around, we'd love to take some questions for our speakers, and feel free to grab another cup of coffee and hang out for a little bit. So thanks so much. Any questions? Yeah, great.
What would you say is the best platform for a niche market to sell business to business?
Depend what the product is, because not every niche business is going to have the same audience, I guess I would say.
Say the most common success we've seen in that specific example is Google Ads. We're targeting people who are searching for that specific product. So we'd look and see if the search volume was there for that specific product and say, okay, we're getting 400 searches a month in this local market and 1,200 nationally. Is that enough to generate those people and turn them into business? So Google Ads makes the most sense in that respect. And it'd be going through each of those platforms and identifying where the audience lives, essentially. So there could be, maybe it's a decision maker and you want to get in front of them on LinkedIn and show them the product. I think Ashley made a good point where it depends on the product, and that's where we'd have like a consultation and basically present, here are our top 3 platforms, and then here's why. But Google Ads is what comes to mind first for that. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Just thinking about community awareness and building brand identity for a local nonprofit, I think about vendor fairs, the Iowa State Fair, these kinds of things, and I'm curious where they would align in how I define that marketing effort, as well as what's the return on investment, how many people you talk to, I was just curious, or how many people go to your website. How do you benchmark your return on investment for a community awareness event?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and that can be very difficult to do in a lot of those community-focused events. I know from some past experience what we would do when we would go to these vendor-specific events is making actionable items at the actual physical booth. So getting contact information, putting a QR code on my booth and offering something, and it's saying we got 20 contacts from this event and we can build that relationship from that event. But it is more of a brand awareness where there is that gray area where you want to get your name out there. But I would provide value at those booths and provide opportunity for them to give you their information for some sort of value in return. Then you can say, we got 20 contacts from this that we can nurture into people that support our business.
So one thing that you guys were talking about was, of course, tracking different data on the websites and such. And with the change from cookies over to GA4, have you guys seen the analytics shift in that?
Yeah, that's
The switch,
been
yeah.
an internal. It was an internal struggle. Basically, what that means, if everyone was hearing that question, basically Google went from Universal Analytics to GA4, and what that means is people have to opt in to specific cookies on websites to provide that information to the website. So we lost a lot of information in that, but we can still, basically you can't get as granular down to the specific person, but you can still see overall pockets of people. So if they came from different platforms, but you can't get down to the specific person. So it's still useful information, but it's just not as granular as it once was. But you're still able to make very effective decisions from using GA4. But yeah, I'd recommend rejecting the cookies on any site you go to.
Yeah.
How has AI impacted the marketing, and what are you guys doing to continuously stay up in front of that?
Sure. We kind of use it as like a tool sometimes when it comes to like content that we can create. Sam, I know that you've done more recent stuff in using it than I have.
Yeah, I would say AI is more of a tool for marketers and companies versus the end-all solution. You obviously still need to provide AI relevant direction. Otherwise, it's just, I'm sure you've seen it before, spitting out things that don't make sense. There's a lot of ways you can automate existing systems and things like that. Like AI is very powerful where if you have a list of, let's say, 1,000 contacts and you want to perform like smart actions targeting specific people in that group, you can use AI to basically form lists and things like that. It's more of a tool for companies and businesses rather than the end-all solution, if that makes sense. I know AI is a very big gray area, and there's a lot of ways you can use it to automate your systems, but viewing it as a tool versus a replacement to what anyone is doing in a lot of respects, I think is a better way to look at it.
Someone has to be driving the car on
Yeah.
it,
Yep.
for it to be effective.
Yeah.
Great question. Okay, one more round of applause for our presenters. Thank you.